You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Well, there are disruptive technologies taking place in the most staid of industries. You see it with automobiles, totally disrupted now. Who knows what the landscape will look like in several years, in a decade. And this is taking place over and over, whether it's the taxi industry, literally being eviscerated before your very eyes by the apps such as Uber and Lyft and others. Well, now it's coming to your pharmacy. And this is important because this is a nearly $100 billion industry. It really hasn't changed much. I mean, you probably remember as well, walking into the old Rexall and they had like bottles around. I think the thing that's changed the most is that pharmacists don't really provide formulations so much as they just count pills. At least when I go to the pharmacy, I watch them counting pills, and now they got machines to do even that. Well, someone who is disrupting the pharmacy industry, and they don't even know that it's coming yet, is CEO Cary Breese. The company is NowRx. You can find out more info about them at nowrx.com. Cary, pleasure to have you on the show. So this is kind of, I guess you should really explain how you're disrupting the industry.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me today. And I think you laid it out pretty well in terms of where the industry is currently. What NowRx is doing is we take that pharmacy, if you can envision a CVS or a Walgreens, where the pharmacy proper is really in the back of the store, right? There's 10 or 15,000 square feet of other products, but that little place behind the counter with 2 or 3 people working and counting out pills by hand, and no one else can kind of get behind that counter. We take that pharmacy proper, that actual pharmacy filling location outside of a retail facility. We put it into commercial warehousing, what we call micro-fulfillment centers. These are 3,000 and 4,000 square feet locations. And we house it with a lot of our technology that we've built, modern software stack, built specifically for optimizing the pharmacy processing behind the scenes. We use robotic dispensing to alleviate some of the labor costs and inaccuracies that get caused in the pharmacy processing. And because we're not spending money on all of that retail space, we can afford to absorb delivery for the patient. So all of our medications are delivered to the patient same day, free of any delivery charge. Our typical delivery is within 3 or 4 hours from the time of receiving the prescription. We also offer a 1-hour delivery for urgent medications. Maybe you have a pain medication that you want right away, or an antibiotic that you don't want to wait a few hours to take. And so we believe that this is truly a disruptive offering for the patient that can now leave their doctor's office rather than driving across town, finding a parking space, getting out of their car, standing in line at the retail pharmacy counter. They can go home if they're not feeling well. They can go to work. They can go about their day, have that prescription delivered free of charge within a few hours to wherever they are. And we think that's really revolutionary. And the way that, as you pointed out, the way the rest of our society is moving, right? I can get lunch delivered by DoorDash within an hour. I can have my groceries delivered by Instacart or Amazon Fresh. I can have, various things. I can have a car pull up in 2 minutes and take me wherever I want. So all of these aspects of our consumer life are moving towards a much more efficient, more convenient place. And pharmacy, to your point, hasn't changed in 100 years. And we think that it's high time it does. And we are backed by a team of technologists that are using software and automation technologies and logistics to just create a better pharmacy model.
Right. So I'm a client. I go to my doctor and I say send the prescription to NowRx. What happens at that point?
So every one of our micro-fulfillment centers, and we operate 9 now throughout California and Arizona, expanding to other states as we speak. Each one of those micro-fulfillment centers is a full licensed pharmacy with inventory and pharmacists on staff, technicians. And so when you go to your doctor's office, they'll ask you where you want to send your prescription. They all have, most physicians have electronic medical record systems, EMR systems, and in those EMR systems, they have electronic prescribing systems as well. And so you just tell your doctor, I'd like to use NowRx as my pharmacy. The doctor types in NowRx in their electronic prescribing system, and whatever the local NowRx micro-fulfillment centers are that are nearby to that doctor's office will automatically populate inside their electronic prescription system. They hit send, it comes to our micro-fulfillment centers, and we'll say, you'll get a call from us that says, hey, Kerry, we've got your prescription from Dr. So-and-so. The copay is going to be $15. When would you like it delivered? So no different workflow for physicians or patients. To that regard, we operate like a normal pharmacy would, but obviously a much different experience. You don't have to go and actually walk in and pick up your prescription.
That's pretty cool. So prescription comes to you and you've got efficiencies in place, because one thing I notice about the prescription counter at the large pharmacies, it doesn't seem real efficient there. They're answering the phone, they're going to the counter for people dropping off prescriptions or picking them up. They're taking in cash and credit cards. You're signing some disclosure thing. It seems like it's an inefficient workflow inherently.
Absolutely right. Again, my co-founder and I came to the industry from outside pharmacy. We're technologists by background. And one of the first things we did when we had this idea of a better pharmacy experience was really sitting down inside existing pharmacies, looking at the industry systems that are in place, trying to figure out exactly what you said, like, why does it take so long? And why are all these people standing in line? Why is there someone just typing away at their computer for, seemingly 5 and 10 minutes at a time while you're waiting patiently? What is all of those processes? What's happening there behind the scenes? And we realized that the pharmacy industry is run by very old, antiquated software systems. Walgreens runs off an AS400 system, the old green screen mainframe.
Really?
CVS isn't much better. They kind of have a hodgepodge of systems. And so the technician, behind those counters is struggling to get through that software. They're counting out pills manually when there are robotics available nowadays to take care of that. They're getting error codes back from the insurance company that they're trying to type in again and resubmit, and they don't know the right codes and the right answers to provide. They're trying to coordinate with the doctor about an update to the prescription or a refill authorization. A lot of times you'll see them on the phone, waiting on hold with insurance company or physician. And so all of those processes are really inefficient, to your point, and very wasteful, cost a lot of labor, bad for the patient. It's bad for everyone involved. It's bad for the doctors, the insurance company, the patient, and the pharmacist that has to sit there and kind of manage through all of that. So our real kind of secret sauce and competitive advantage is we built a new technology stack for pharmacy. It's called QuickFill, and it runs all of those processes. And by sitting next to pharmacists and technicians and looking at other industry software systems, we were able to build a modern approach to a lot of those problems and solve as many of them as we can. It's built into the software now. So our technicians click a button and it goes through the insurance, and the software resolves the errors automatically. We follow up with doctors and their EMR systems and make sure that there's a queue and a processing follow-up so we don't miss things and they don't fall through the cracks. We use a machine learning algorithm to manage our inventory in a more predictive way, so we're out of stock at a much lower rate than the industry. Our cost to fill a prescription is less than half of the industry standard. CVS and Walgreens spend about $20 plus just to prepare an order. A lot of that's labor costs. And with our software systems and efficiency and robotics in our micro-fulfillment centers, we're able to fulfill orders at less than $9 per prescription, about $8.50, and we're still trending down as we build more automation.
And one thing, when you talk about the inefficiency, the modern pharmacy is designed as a business model to take advantage of their own inefficiency. Oh, it'll be 15 minutes, have a seat, and nobody's sitting around. They're going around doing impulse purchases. Well, I need this, I need that. So they really capitalize on their own inefficiencies, and they're designed to be inefficient to basically spur additional add-on purchases. So for them to change their business model is going to be really hard. I remember a while ago, Merck bought a mail order prescription company for like billions of dollars, and it really didn't work out well for them either. So the pharmacies, really, the actual drug manufacturers, they're not happy with the state of affairs either, are they?
That's exactly right. You really hit the nail on the head when we one of the shocking revelations early in our going, when we were testing out the ideas and kind of pressure testing the business plan with experts in the industry. And, we reached out to a lot of folks. We talked to managers from, CVS. I hate to keep picking on the big guys, CVS and Walgreens, but we talked to an ex-CVS manager, and he did confirm that their managers were rated and incentivized by how long a patient stays in the store. The longer, the better. I mean, think about that. So it's exactly what you said. They're really overcommitted, I would say, to this strategy of bringing patients into a pharmacy. They put the pharmacy way in the back. They fill the store with pretty aisles of other products, and they want patients wandering through, filling up their baskets while they're waiting for their prescription. That is their model. And I think it puts them in a really bad position. Like you said, it's really hard for them to turn that business model around. It's going to take a lot of conviction. I'm not sure that exists at big corporate boards. And you're right, the pharmaceutical companies in the meantime, and the doctors as well, are trying to get medications in patients' hands. And the pharmacy system as it exists today is not particularly incentivized to do that in an efficient, customer-facing manner. And that's where as an entrepreneur, I look for misalignment of incentives. And it's really pretty obvious to me that the pharmacy industry is suffering from that today.
Okay, so right now you're not publicly traded?
No, we're in a bit of a kind of a unique and growing class of company called an emerging growth company, which means we're not yet public, but we're also regulated by the SEC under Regulation A, which was created by the Jobs Act, which means anyone can invest in NowRx. You don't have to be a professional investor. We actually raise rounds on crowdfunding platforms like Seed Invest and things like that. And it's kind of a new thing that the SEC created. We've been raising a lot of money that way. We've raised about $45 million since we started the company back in 2016. We hope to be public one day. We think this is a great opportunity for an IPO company. It's a huge market. We're growing at about 60% year over year in revenue. We've got a path to profitability. And so we think we'll keep building the company for several more years and would hopefully IPO one day.
Great. Hey, what's it cost to open up a micro dispensary?
All in's about $500,000. We don't. These are leased spaces, so we don't buy buildings, and the inventory is fairly inexpensive. We buy some robotics. Our software is obviously easy to replicate. Some furniture and some vehicles as well for delivery. We do all the delivery ourselves. There are employees. We drive our cars. They're branded NowRx. The drivers use NowRx uniforms, and we could do background checks on them and make sure that we have a safe chain of custody over that medication all the way to the patient's door. One of the things with NowRx is we manage everything from the point the prescription is sent from the doctor's office to the time that medication is handed to a patient or delivered to them. all of that is managed by our software and our processes. So about 500,000 for a new micro-fulfillment center. We just signed new leases in Denver, Colorado, Las Vegas, Nevada, Bellevue, Washington, and Houston, Texas. So we're expanding nationwide, and next couple of years should be a fun ride.
All right, and I guess you doing it this way, you avoid the Domino's pizza delivery dilemma of some 17-year-old kid who just got his license, who's got to get the pizza there within an hour, or he gets his salary docked. So definitely a good approach. Now, I noticed one thing when you choose a location, you're not looking for retail space, you're not looking for glamorous space by any stretch, but you are looking for space that is adjacent or close to a main artery and that will facilitate rapid delivery to your clients.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Torque Resources is an exploration company establishing a portfolio of premier copper gold early stage projects in Chile. Torque's management and technical teams have a strong track record of raising capital, discovery, and monetization of exploration successes. The company's Margarita Copper Gold project is located within the prolific coastal Cordillera Belt in Chile, which hosts some of the world's largest and most profitable copper mines. The Margarita project possesses excellent discovery potential for a major copper discovery due to the strength of the alteration system, large-scale magnetic targets, and the presence of copper oxide mineralization. Drilling is anticipated to begin in Q3 of this year. Torque trades in Canada under TORQ and on the OTC under TRBMF. To learn more, go to torqueresources.com. That's torqueresources.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Correct. We are pretty strategic in those locations. Exactly right. We try to be near major delivery arteries, traffic arteries. We look at that fairly closely. We also use our vehicles, our electric vehicles, so we get access to carpool lanes. All of our micro-fulfillment centers have charging facilities installed that we put in place. And so it's good for the environment. It's 1/3 the cost compared to gas per mile, and get access to carpool lanes for fast and reliable delivery.
That's great. Well, I'm an EV owner myself, and Tesla's been kind enough to provide on their app charging stats. I saved $350 last month on gasoline, not to mention all the other maintenance issues, everything else. How long does it take till a unit becomes profitable?
About 12 to 16 months, depending on the territory and the jurisdiction and how fast we ramp up. Part of the variables here is as we grow the business and become a bigger buyer of medications from the wholesale market, we can get better purchasing costs and lower cost of goods. A big part of our expense is the cost of medications themselves. We buy from the wholesale market, we put it on our shelves, just like any other pharmacy. Take it off the shelves and give it to patients through delivery. So that cost of goods is a big variable for us. And as we expand the company, we believe we can, we're confident we can drive that cost down. We look at the bigger players in the space and look at the cost that they're spending on the medications. And we know we're not getting the best deals today from the wholesale market and the pharmacy companies. So as we expand and grow the company, we're going to get better margins, and that path to profitability starts to accelerate and get faster and faster for every new location in the future.
Yeah, and then you also hit critical mass where physicians become more aware of the service as well as potential customers. And then it kind of just feeds on itself. As far as marketing the company goes, marketing the service, how are you reaching potential customers? I guess cost of acquisition. If I was on Shark Tank, I'd be asking you that, right?
Yeah, you sure would. So you again hit the nail on the head. The physicians are really our key for growing the business in these early stages. For prescription medications, it feels like a consumer product, but the consumer in this case doesn't really make that purchase decision. It's the physician, and so you got to be inside the doctor's offices, when they're asking their patients where do they want that medication to go. So we do call on doctors. We reach out to them with representatives from NowRx. They knock on the physician's door, explain the benefits of NowRx, not just to the patient, but we save doctors a lot of time. Your typical primary care physician spends $55,000 a year, usually a full-time person, doing nothing other than chasing down bad experiences at the pharmacy and bad experiences with insurance companies. Every time a patient has a bad pharmacy experience, guess who they call? They call their doctor. And so we can actually cut down on the phone calls that go into a doctor's office and the amount of time they're spending trying to resolve errors that the pharmacy couldn't resolve with insurance or what have you. So we call on doctors, they refer patients to us. We leave brochures behind in the offices. And you're absolutely right. You hinted at this. As those doctors hear good things from their patients that have used NowRx, they tend to mention it more and refer more patients to us. It's the gift that keeps giving. And our acquisition cost is less than $50 per new customer through that physician referral channel. It's incredibly efficient.
One of the things I notice, so I'm into data, I'm into numbers, everything else, the prescription refill process is a major pain. You got to call your doctor. Now, one of the things, since we got electronic medical records, is the pharmacies actually able to ping your doctor and say, we need a refill. So you don't have to go actually to the doctor's office to get a refill. Have you refined that process further?
We do. We push the envelope a little bit further. There is a communication network set up between pharmacies and physicians. We didn't build it. It exists in the industry it's called SureScripts. And you're touching on that process when a pharmacy is pinging you for a refill. They have a prescription in their system electronically, and it has more refills on it. But most pharmacy systems don't take as much advantage of that communication network as they could. And one of the things our software system does is it pushes the envelope in terms of how much information can go back and forth electronically between the physician and the pharmacy. So we go far farther in the communication and follow-up on refills to make sure that the refill authorization coming from the doctor was received timely before that medication is actually running out for the patient. We also communicate back to the doctor that, hey, we did process this prescription. We give them a real-time status, essentially, of every medication for their patients, that it was processed by insurance or it needed more information with the insurance company. It was approved by the patient. It was processed in our pharmacy. It was sent out for delivery. It was delivered. All of that status, we feed back to the physician in a fully closed loop information system. And we don't know anyone else doing that in the industry today. So we're pretty proud of our system's capabilities.
Okay. And as far as when the delivery is in process, I assume, and I don't see anything on the site, I looked at your site, as far as the patient getting texts, your medication's on the way, he's 15 minutes away, you give them status updates like that?
We do, absolutely. We text the patient when the driver's leaving the fulfillment center. We have a bunch of safety checks as well. The drivers are scanning barcodes before they go to make sure they have the right medication. They scan it again when they reach the patient, and we text along the way. You're the next stop, or you're the third stop coming. Driver will be there in a half hour, and we text again when they're a few minutes away. And then the patient can report back to us, hey, I got the medication. Thank you very much, just to verify that we have that closed loop. So it's a different level of delivery than delivering a pizza, as you mentioned, Domino's, or lunch from DoorDash. We built in a more robust custody. Yeah,
it's Drug Dash. Hey, now finally, the most important question I'm about to ask you: when are you opening in Florida, particularly South Florida?
Yeah, Florida's a great market. Older community.
Drug capital.
Yeah, a lot of retirees, a lot of medications. Coming to a city near you soon.
Okay, hopefully Palm Beach County first. But I can't wait. It's really been great having you on, Cary. So now NowRx.com. That's the site you go to. And as far as investors go, where is the best place for an investor to go find out more about the company and consider the options?
You can look at seed invest, seed like plant seed invest.com and /NowRx. And you can see an opportunity to invest in our company as a crowdfunding company. It's a brave new world now. Investors of all kinds can get opportunities to invest in early stage companies. We think it's a good opportunity for investors to take a look at us. And yeah, as you mentioned, nowrx.com as well has a lot more information about the company.
All right, excellent. Well, hey, if you've got a question for Cary, you can always shoot me an email, kl@carrylutz.com. We'll get you an answer. Make sure you go over to the site, financialsurvivalnetwork.com, and get your free newsletter. Sign up for it now. Cary, this is really fascinating. Appreciate you taking time out to discuss it with us, and we're going to be following you closely.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure.
Thanks for listening to Cary Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.